Now, good day, good day, good day. Now, in this video, I'm coming to teach you how we can find negative angles. Now, in the previous video, we talked about how we can find higher angles. Now, what if the angles are negative? Now, negative angles means that, don't forget that we read the angles in the anti-clockwise direction. You get it? So, negative angles means that we are reading the angles in the clockwise direction. So, if I have an angle theta to be positive, the negative theta means that I have to right now, this one is positive. I need to right now move in the anti-clockwise direction. Hey, move in the clockwise direction. Now this one will be the clockwise direction, negative theta. In the clockwise direction. Example, if I have 30 degrees, 30 degrees will be an acute angle here. But if I'm looking for negative 30, it means I need to move in the clockwise direction 30 degrees. The negative means the clockwise direction. So I need to move in the clockwise direction 30. I need to move in the clockwise direction. 0 is here up to 30. So this one will give me negative 30. You got it? Now we have two ways we can talk about this. Now if you want to solve questions like this, we have two ways. Either we use formulas or we use higher angles, the one that I've talked about it previously. If you've not learned that one, go and learn that one before. Yes. Now, okay, I will teach both so that you know how you can just manipulate the thing. You are the one supposed to control the question. You don't have to let the question control you. Now, so let's look at this very well. Now, let me consider a point P, which is XY, having an angle theta. A point P, XY, having an angle theta. Now, if I have a point P here, I can resolve it along the x-axis and form 90 degrees. Now don't forget that this point is x and here is what? Y. Get it? So one, I can solve sine theta. Now what is sine theta? Sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, which is y over x. So anytime I see, now let's say here is a hypotenuse, so opposite over hypotenuse. That is a positive answer because this one is an acute angle. Yes, in the first quadrant. Now let me consider a negative angle. Now this one is negative theta. Having a point. Now let's say the point is the point Q. Now don't forget that at this particular point, the S component is supposed to be positive and then the Y component to be negative. Right? Now, let me resolve this one along the x-axis. We will have our angle here to be negative theta. Now, why negative theta? It means we are moving in the clockwise direction, negative theta. Now, the x here will still be x, the y here will be y. Why y? It is y because we are talking about the length. That's the opposite. Now, from this diagram, I can find sine theta, sine negative theta. Don't forget, sine theta is also opposite over hypotenuse, right? Now, which one is the opposite? The opposite is y over hypotenuse. Now, let me use r to represent the hypotenuse. So, r. Now, let's look at something. In this particular quadrant, don't forget that the y here is negative, right? So, since the y is negative, I need to negate this one. Now, this one is a negative angle. This one is what? A positive angle. Clockwise, and this one is anti-clockwise. Look at the direction. Now, how can I find sine theta? Now, look at something here. Let me substitute this one into this one. Don't forget that this one is the same as negative of y over r. Right? It is negative of y over r. Now, what is y over r? Now, this is y over r. Y over r is sine theta. So I can write negative of sine theta. Now what are we trying to say? It means that whenever you have sine of a negative angle, it's going to give you negative of sine of the positive of that particular angle. So therefore, if I have sine negative 30, it's supposed to be the same as negative sine. Then you change the angle to positive. So keep this one in the mind. So anytime you have sine of a negative angle, the same as negative of what? Sine of a positive angle. So that is how we can change a negative angle to sine to be a positive angle. Now keep this one in your head. Now let's talk about the cosine. So keep this one in your head. Let's talk about the cosine. Now 2, I'm going to talk about the cosine. Now with the same diagram, let's find the cosine. Cos of the angle theta. From here, then we find cos of the angle theta for the negative angle. Now cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Now the adjacent here is x. The hypotenuse is r. Of course, this one is in the first quadrant and then all the three equations are all positive. That's why we have positive, positive. Now let's come to this one. Cos of what? Negative theta. Cos of negative theta. Now what is cos here? Now cos is what? The same adjacent over hypotenuse. Now what's the adjacent here? Adjacent here is x. What is the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is r. Now can you see that when you compare these two, cos theta is s over r, sine cos negative theta is also s over r. Then what does it mean? This s over r is the same as cos theta. Then we can say that anytime we have cos of a negative angle theta, is the same as cos of the positive angle. Example, if we have cos of negative 30, then we can write cos of negative 30 as cos of what? 30 degrees. You ignore the negative. So which means cos of a negative angle still gives us a positive angle. I hope you are following very well. Okay. Now let's talk about the last one, tan. You can deduce for the other three groups. So let's talk about the last one, tan. Now so 3. Now let's take this one, tan of theta, a positive angle. You know tan is opposite over adjacent. And what is the opposite? Opposite is y, adjacent is x. Now let's consider this one negative angle. Tan of negative theta, opposite over adjacent. Now what is the opposite? Opposite is y. What is the adjacent? Adjacent is x. Now don't forget that at this particular point, the y is negative, so I need to negate this one. What does it mean? Tan theta is y over x. Tan negative theta is negative y over x. So I can write this one as negative y over x. So that I'll come and put the y over x, which is tan theta, inside this one. So I'm going to get negative y over s. Y over s is the same as what? Tan theta. So we have negative tan what? Theta. Now what are we trying to say? What we are trying to say is that when you have tan of a negative angle, theta, is the same as negative tan of positive of the angle. It means that tan negative theta, okay, so tan negative 30, example, will be the same as negative tan, then you change the 30, negative 30 to positive 30. As simple as that. So in summary, what we are saying is that for negative angles, in summary, for negative angle 1, sine of any negative angle is negative of the positive of that particular angle. And then 2, cosine of any negative angle will give us cosine of positive of that particular angle. And then 3, tan of any negative angle, tan and sine, they behave the same way. So negative of what? Tan of the positive of that particular angle. So it means that we can now convert them to what? Positive. Now when we get a positive, then we go through our normal process to solve. As simple as that. Now let's take 1 or 2 questions here. Solve the following. Now A, we are going to solve cos negative 600. B, we are going to solve tan negative 430. Now I'm going to solve this particular two. Now, so first, A. Don't forget that cos negative 600 will be the same as cos 600. Why? Because cos negative theta is the same as cos theta. So first, I have changed the thing to positive straight away. Now, the moment this one is positive, it means that we need to go through our previous lesson. We need to go through the same way. We need to read 600. Now, what is 600? 600, we need to go through one revolution, one complete cycle, that is 360. So 360 plus what will give us 600? 360 minus we need 240. So 360 plus 240 will give us 600. You understand? Because you need to move complete cycle. So this one will give us what? Cos 240. Now, how do we read cos 240? I explain in 2 ways. Now, the first method is that we need to read our cos 240, which is positive. So 240 here will be 90, here will be 180. So 180, we will need what? 60 in order to get 240, right? So here is 180. I need 60. Now don't forget that the 60 is already in the around the x-axis. So which means that cos 240 is same as cos what? Cos 60. Now before this, I need to go and watch the previous video because I can solve this one. Now in this particular third quadrant, the cosine is negative. Only tan is positive. So I need to negate this one. So this one will give us a cos 60 is 1 out of 2. So we're going to get negative 1 out of 2. You see how simple it is? Yes, it is very simple. Now, if you want to use the formula approach to find the angle along the x-axis, how did I say? I said that since the angle is between 180 and 270, what do we do? We subtract theta minus what? 180. In the third quadrant, so which means the theta is 240 minus 180, and it's going to give us what? 60 to get the acute angle or the angle along the x-axis. Yes, I gave you the two. Now let's solve the second one. B. tan negative 40, 430. Now don't forget that we said that tan of any negative angle will give us negative of what? Tan of positive of that particular angle. It means that we bring the negative out. We're going to get negative tan of what? 430 degrees. Now let's look at how we can read 430. Now 430 is more than one complete cycle, right? 430 is more than one complete cycle. So we're going to get 360 plus what will give us 360 plus what will give us so we're going to get 40 plus 30, 70. 360 plus 70. 430 minus 360. 70. Now, so this one will give us the same as what? Tan 70. Now, what is tan 70? Tan 70 is already in the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, tan is positive. All the three ratios are positive. But this one is not a special angle. So let me punch tan 70 on the calculator. The answer is 2.747 approximately to 4 decimal places. Now let me give you 2 questions for you to go and try. Now solve the following. Solve the following. Now we have A cos negative 150, B sin negative 210, and then C tan negative 680. Okay, let me say 600 and what? 30, 70 plus 13, 50. Now, solve this one and then send the answers to me in the comment section. See you in the next video. These ones will help you to be able to understand trigonometry very well. We are dealing with the angles. Now, when we dive through, when we are using to solve plenty questions, you see how it is. See you in the next video. Share the video to many people. Bye-bye.